After a 4-week break, Formula 1 returned to action at the iconic Spa-Francorchamps circuit. And while most drivers used their summer break to recharge their batteries, that was not an option for the Red Bull driver of Hayden Gullis. With reports coming out of Red Bull that Gullis has been practicing on a 2014 car at the Red Bull Ring in Austria to make setup changes to the car and better his performances in the future. We already know that Gullis is under pressure after what Christian Horner said last time around at the Hungarian Grand Prix, so a bad result here could be the final nail in the coffin. However, all the hard work has seemed to pay off as Gullis gets into Q3 for the first time since Azerbaijan. Despite this little hiccup in Q1, it seemed to have been a good day for the Red Bull driver. Although rain in Q3 halted his progress and he qualifies in P10 on the grid, but outqualifies his teammate of Daniel Ricciardo, who will be just behind him in P11. Lining up in pole position though for today's Belgian Grand Prix was Nico Hülkenberg, with the Force Indians looking very strong here today, with Sergio Perez lining up alongside him in second. Lewis Hamilton makes up for his bad result at the German Grand Prix as he qualifies in third, with Jenson Button making it a Brit second row. It was another terrible qualifying session for both the Ferrari drivers, as Sebastian Vettel could only manage P17 and Kimi Räikkönen could do no better as he lines up just behind him in P18. So that is your qualifying roundup ahead of today's race. Up next is the Belgian Grand Prix. What is up, people, and welcome back to the F1 2016 career mode. We're here for round 13 of season 5. It is, of course, the Belgian Grand Prix, one of my favourite circuits on the F1 calendar. We'll be looking to have a good result here today. Unfortunately, it is raining out on track. We don't do as well in the rain as we have done in the past. I am still struggling with that, but the results are starting to improve. I took a break, I did lots of practice, and now we're starting to get better, getting into Q3 for the first time since Azerbaijan, and it is a really decent result for us. But hopefully we can convert that into a good race result as well, because of course we are under pressure still from the team. I feel like maybe we can let us have a bad result in Belgium, but if we have a bad result in Italy, that is it. We are out of the team. So we need to pick up our pace, we need to get some good results, and hopefully we can do that here today. There is Nico Hülkenberg though lining up in pole position for today's Belgian Grand Prix. Good result for both the Force India drivers. There they are lining up in first and second, with Lewis Hamilton third and Jenson Button in fourth. But P10 on the grid, we are ahead of our teammate who is in P11, so Daniel Ricciardo just behind us. But what can we do in the race today? Apparently it's supposed to be going from wet to dry, so that is really going to help us. We are going to be very quick towards the end of the race, but we just need to get that strategy right. If we can get the strategy right, then we can certainly be up there with the top teams. But looking at the race, the driver standings as we go into today's race, Sergio Perez still leads the way, and he is now 101 points ahead of me. That is a huge lead that Sergio Perez has at the moment in the Drivers' Championship. I'm second, so it's not too bad for us in this season, but Alonso is slowly starting to close in. He is now 11 points behind us in the championship, with Daniel Ricciardo on 103 points in fourth, with Jenson Button in fifth on 100 points. So all the top 5 now breaking the 100-point mark, but it's very close between second and fifth at the moment. So we could be in a battle for second place this season, but I would hope to try and get some decent results in the future and try and push on for that championship win. Of course, this is going to be my last season on F1 2016, so I would absolutely love it if I could win the championship in my final season on this game. But we're just going to have to wait and see how the rest of the season progresses and how good our progress has been practicing in the summer break. But as we come through the corner with no name now, right behind the driver that is Fernando Alonso, we're going to go through the starting grid for today's race. So Nico Hülkenberg lines up in pole position with Sergio Perez in second. There's Lewis Hamilton third and Jenson Button who lines up in fourth. Then we have Felipe Massa and Valtteri Bottas making a Williams third row lockout. And then it's a Haas fourth row lockout with Roman Grosjean and Esteban Gutierrez in seventh and eighth. Then Alonso lines up ninth with myself in 10th. Ricciardo in 11th with Carlos Sainz 12th. Then it's Kevin Magnussen 13th with Jolyon Palmer in 14th. Then it is the two manners of Pascal Wehrlein and Rio Haryanto 15th and 16th. Sebastian Vettel 17th. Bad result for both Ferraris with Kimi Räikkönen 18th. There's Kvyat 19th. Ericsson in 20th. Rosberg in 21st. And Felipe Nasser rounds out the back of the field. Let's look through the race strategy though for today's race. So there we go. Starting in wet conditions. It's going to slowly dry off as the race goes on. So at the moment, it is going to be a one-stop strategy for the wets. But as the race progresses, we could be going we should be going on to intermediate tyres and then going on to dries at some point. Not too sure which dry tyres to go for. I don't actually know how long the dry tyres actually last. So I'm going to be trying to use Jeff as much as possible to give me the best strategy for today's race. We come into the final corner now, into the bus stop chicane to get this race underway. And whereabouts will we be at the end of this? Hoping to at least get into the top 7. I mean, I'm starting in 10th place. I should be aiming for better than that, but P7 will be a good result at the end of the day. If I can get into the top 5, even better. If I can get onto the podium, that would be absolutely amazing. But here we are, the rest of the cars lining up now. We're in a grid slot, just waiting for the back of the field to get us underway. As the Sauber, the Mercedes there at the back of Nico Rosberg, and the other Sauber of Felipe Nasr start to get into their grid slots. Here they go, lining up now. So we should be underway any moment now, as it looks like everybody's in their grid slots, and yes, they are. So the lights coming on now. We go to 5 red lights. It is lights out, and away we go for the Belgian Grand Prix. It's a good start from Fernando Alonso there in the McLaren. A great second phase, though, for ourselves, going in between the McLaren and the Haas driver, but backing off. We do not want to throw our race away straight away at this Belgian Grand Prix. And here we go, getting past Esteban Gutierrez, so already making a little stride in today's race, trying to get past Romain Grosjean as well, going down in towards the Rouge, going to back off. Do not want to get involved there with Alonso and Bottas, but Grosjean, he wants to get involved as he goes up the inside in towards the first part of El Rouge. We get the job done into the second part, and there we go, up into P8 now, following in the slipstream of Fernando Alonso, moving over to the right hand side, getting the job done on the McLaren driver. Can we do anything on Valtteri Bottas? Not quite in towards this chicane section. That kind of loses out to Fernando Alonso, going side by side in towards the Cums, in towards the right hander now, down towards Rivage. Have we got the job done on Alonso? Yes, we have. He backs off quite a bit, and there we go, up into P7 already for the start of this Belgian Grand Prix. Not quite as good of a start as we had in Germany, but still, we are making strides. We are going forward, and that is all that matters. We cut ahead now to the end of lap 1, start lap 2. Down in towards the source, in towards turn 1, following behind the 2 Williams drivers of Valtteri Bottas and Felipe Massa. We run it a little bit wide there in towards turn 1. That allows Alonso just to have a little look, and losing the back end allows him to have even more of a look down in towards the Rouge. Will he go for the overtake? No, he doesn't. He backs out of it, but that puts him side by side with the Haas driver of Esteban Gutierrez. Side by side between those two. Who's going to come out on top in between that little battle? As we look to the background of those guys. No, there's contact. A huge amount of contact down the Kemmel Straight. There was a Haas driver sideways down there. Lots of contact, lots of cars spinning in the background. Definitely going to have a look at a replay of that. Not too sure whether a safety car will be deployed. You don't usually see a safety car deployed in real life at this circuit, but we have seen it quite a bit in this career mode, as we're still following behind the Williams of Felipe Massa. Will we be able to go for an overtake on this guy? No, it's Valtteri Bottas as we go up the inside into the corner with no name. And what a move that was, up the inside of Valtteri Bottas. He left the door open. We said thank you very much, took that position, and we move up into P6. It looks like he may have a problem, as now the Haas driver was having a little look, and the Haas driver, has he got the job done? Yes, he has, and so has my teammate of Daniel Ricciardo. So maybe Valtteri Bottas has a problem in this race. Just have to wait and see for that. But let's have a look at a replay of what's happened to Romain Grosjean down the Kemmel Straight. So he's following behind the battle between Esteban Gutierrez and Alonso. Alonso backs off from that one, then goes side by side with Grosjean. Then there's a slight amount of contact, puts each other into their paths, and then there's contact with the Manor there. Is there any more contact with drivers behind? The Saubers just managed to miss out. The Manor of, I believe that is Rear Harrianta, got a huge smash from somebody else. Let's watch on board with Fernando Alonso. There's a tag from behind. So Alonso just moves into the path of Romain Grosjean. And luckily for Alonso, it's only a little bit of front wing damage. Watching on board now with Pascal Wehrlein. It was not Rear Harrianta who just gets a huge hit there from Grosjean. Let's get, oh my god, gets a massive hit there from the Toro Rosso of, I believe that was Carlos Sainz. And now watching on board with Felipe Nasr. So what happened to this Sauber driver to go down in towards the Lecumbe section, and he just misses the Haas driver, goes straight into the side of Pascal Wehrlein, just had nowhere to go. Pascal Wehrlein came out of nowhere, and unfortunately that is Felipe Nasr out of today's Belgian Grand Prix. Disappointment there for Felipe Nasr, but cutting ahead to lap 4 of our own race, and I believe it's time to come in for the intermediate tyres, and yes it is. The rain has eased off quite a bit at the moment in this race. It's not quite ready for dry tyres, but wet tyres are no longer the tyre of choice. So we're going to be coming into pits now for a set of intermediates, and hopefully that will allow us to get the jump on the guys ahead of us. Because I think there's only one driver ahead of us that has come into the pits. I believe that is Jenson Button in the McLaren. And I'm not too sure whether he's gone on to intermediates or another set of wet tyres. We're just going to have to wait and see for that. But out of the pit lane now. And whereabouts we're going to be. P10. We're in P10 at the moment, just ahead of the Ferrari of, I believe that is Sebastian Vettel. Not 100% sure, but I think that is Sebastian Vettel just ahead of us. So how are these intermediate tyres going to do as we go through El Rouge? A very tricky corner, but it's very quick to see whether you're on the right tyres. Because, of course, if you're on the wrong ones, you're going straight into the barrier at either the left-hand or the right-hand side. But we're cutting one lap later now. The guys ahead of us have not pitted for a set of intermediate tyres. Kimi Räikkönen was actually the guy behind us. And there goes Ria Haryanto and the other guys coming into the pits. So we're going to be getting a lot of positions now. But has the undercut worked on Felipe Massa? As we go down in towards turn 1, we actually run it wide there. Not the best of turning points in towards the source. But we have got the job done on Felipe Massa. So Felipe Massa staying out for one lap longer was not a good idea. And Valtteri Bottas has got past him as well. So both myself and the other Williams driver getting past Felipe Massa. Losing the back end there a little bit as we go through El Rouge. Just kicking it out there. But here we are on lap 6 on these intermediate tyres still. And this was just a little bit of a weird phase of the race. We just had no grip for some reason. The grip just went really funny in towards Pouhon as well. Mainly because we had a bit of grass on our tyres. I can see why we messed up in towards Pouhon. But it was really strange. We didn't really kick out the back end too much when we ran wide on the corner with no name. But unfortunately, that did lose us a bit of time in this race. We lock up going down in towards the bus stop chicane here on lap 6. And there's a few more drivers into the pits. Well, it's actually Nico Hülkenberg who decided to stay out an extra lap on those wet tyres. So he stayed out 2 extra laps than us on those wet tyres. The man who started in pole, running away with the race, has now dropped down into 3rd. That puts Jenson Button into 2nd. And unfortunately, surprise, surprise, Sergio Perez, my championship rival, is leading today's race, which is really, really frustrating. But we're falling behind Nico Hülkenberg at the moment as we go through El Rouge corner, running a little bit too deep there, losing the back end, going into the barrier, hitting the barrier not once, not twice, but 3 times. And somehow a miracle has happened and we have not got any damage on this car. What on earth is happening? What on earth is happening in this race? How on earth have we not got damage? We have lost out 3 positions though, and a lot of time to the leaders. But as we go around the outside of Esteban Gutierrez, trying to make our way back through the field after that mistake. Here we go down in towards Rivage, right behind Gutierrez. We're going to have a little look around the outside of this corner. Oh my god, can we make this move? Yes, we can. We've got the job done. Round the outside of Rivage, up the inside in towards the corner of No Name. And wow, what a move that was on the Haas driver to go round the outside of Rivage, up the inside once again into the corner with No Name. There's an absolutely incredible move as we now try and get past Felipe Massa in the Williams. But let's have a look at a replay of what's happened down in towards El Rouge. Just losing the back end loads of amounts, hitting the barrier twice there, and with the rear end. I think it was all because it was rear end. If it was front end, that would have been us out of the race. But because we hit it on the rear end, luckily the game is a little bit stronger at the rear end of the car, and we managed to stay in the race there. So I'm very, very thankful for that. But here we are following behind Felipe Massa in that Williams car here on lap 7. So can we get past the Williams drivers? We go down in towards Blanchimont, right behind Felipe Massa. No, we can't, unfortunately. Running it wide through Blanchimont just because Felipe Massa defended really well, putting his car in the middle of the track. And there's contact with Esteban Gutierrez. What on earth was he doing? He just came in at us like a torpedo, like a Danny Kvyat torpedo there. And contact with the driver, unfortunately, puts him into the barrier at the bus stop. We ran wide as well, and unfortunately, that meant that we had to cut the corner and give the position back to Carlos Sainz as he momentarily got past us. And look who is behind us now. It is my teammate of Daniel Ricciardo. If we fail to beat our teammate in this race, that could be a nail in our coffin, sealing our fate and kicking us out of Red Bull. But we just have to wait and see what happens as we follow in the slipstream now of Carlos Sainz. A great line through El Rouge, the complete opposite to what we had on the previous lap. And there we go, getting past Carlos Sainz in today's race, moving back up into P6, and once again hunting down the Williams driver of Felipe Massa, and of course Valtteri Bottas, who is just ahead of him. Can we do anything though to catch up to the leaders? We know we are quick at this circuit as we are still running in P6. Let's have a look at replay though of what happened down into the bus stop chicane. And Gutierrez just caught up to us so much because of that mistake down in towards Blanchimont. And there he goes running into the barrier. He luckily doesn't actually have too much damage on his front wing. Let's have a better view though on board with Gutierrez. And just look at how much he closes up on us. Around the outside in towards the bus stop chicane. And then the gap just sort of eases out. I did not expect him to catch up that much. He goes into the barrier, loses a slight amount of his front wing on the left-hand side. Unfortunately, because of the way the AI works, they will not start moving until everybody is cleared. So Esteban Gutierrez dropping really far down the field. But Nico Hulkenberg now having problems in today's race. I'm not too sure. I think it's a brake problem in today's race as Valtteri Bottas closes up the gap down in towards Leclerc, all the way down the Kemmel Straight. And there he goes, swooping past Nico Hulkenberg and moving up into the podium. So Valtteri Bottas on to the podium, which is a huge surprise, seeing as where Williams were at the start of the season. They've really struggled on this F1 2016 career mode, but now it looks like their fortunes are starting to change as Felipe Massa, right behind Nico Hulkenberg, goes to the left-hand side for the first part of Blanchimont, gets the job done before he's even got to the second part, and there he goes moving up into P4. So it's a Williams third and fourth at the moment, which is a fantastic result for both of their cars. But what can we do on Nico Hulkenberg? We'll be closing up on him very, very soon, and there we are on the back of the Force India driver in towards Rivage. Can we get the job done down into the corner with no name? We've made a few overtakes at this corner already. We have a little look up the inside, but unfortunately just not brave enough to go up the inside, which kind of shows that maybe Nico Hulkenberg doesn't have these brake problems anymore. So we go in towards P1 now, still following behind Nico Hulkenberg in today's race. And what can we do? This will be for P5 in this Belgian Grand Prix. And we got the inside in towards this right-hander, and there we go, job done on Nico Hulkenberg. A good move. We saw the gap form there on Nico Hulkenberg, and there we go, getting up into P5, and now once again hunting down the two Williams drivers of P4 of Felipe Massa and Valtteri Bottas, who of course are in P4 and P3 respectively, as there's contact between Nico Hulkenberg and Lewis Hamilton and Nico Rosberg. Wow, was not expecting that, as Nico Hulkenberg there makes contact with the two drivers, just running so slowly out of Stavelot, and that unfortunately gives Lewis Hamilton a great run, but they both move over to the right-hand side, and then just contact, get hooked on each other's cars, and Lewis Hamilton goes for a spin, losing his front wing there. So does Nico Rosberg, and Nico Hulkenberg's unfortunately out of today's Belgian Grand Prix. So it's even more problems there for the Force India driver. Looks like Fernando Alonso ahead of him may have a problem as well, but he's on board with Nico Hulkenberg. Just gets a hit from the rear. There's nothing that he can do. Gets put into a spin, and where's the contact? There it is from the manor of Rio Haryanto, I believe that is. And that is his race over, and here we are on board with Rio Haryanto, this time getting the right manor drive as he goes down in towards where this contact is. He just had nowhere to go. Nico Hulkenberg spinning ahead of him. He has Alonso on his left-hand side, and there was nowhere for Rio Haryanto to go, unfortunately for him, and that puts him with a front wing damage and really, really far down the field now. As we come into pits for the time of dry tyres. It is time for the dry tyres in today's race, and we weren't really too sure which dry tyre to go for. Unfortunately, the call from Jeff came as we were coming into the pits. We knew it was time to come into pits anyway, and the call came from him then. So I decided to go for the soft tyres. I don't know how long these tyres can last, nor do I know how long the medium tyres can last. And I think the medium tyres would have been the best tyre to go for, because that's what a lot of the AI drivers were going for. So, but unfortunately, we had to make a decision there and then. I decided to go safe, go for the soft tyres in the middle, and we just have to hope and pray that these tyres can make it to the end. If not, we'll have to go onto a set of super soft tyres at the end, and just be very, very quick. But going through El Rouge, are these the right tyres to be on? Yeah, sort of. We kind of had to cut across El Rouge there, because we just made a little bit of a mistake, and it's not quite dry enough to go flat out. But these are the right tyres to be on, and now we are following behind the Williams of Felipe Massa. This is for fourth place, going up the inside in towards Blanchimont, side by side with Felipe Massa, getting the job done, under braking into the bus stop chicane. And there we go, moving up into P4 and hunting down the other Williams driver of Valtteri Bottas. And of course, you've got Sergio Perez ahead of him, and Jenson Button currently leading this Belgian Grand Prix at the moment. We cut ahead to lap 20. 2 laps left to go in this Belgian Grand Prix. Running a little bit wide there on the curbing, and that's going to allow Felipe Massa to have a great run on us all the way in towards Blanchimont. There he is on the right-hand side, and with that speed of that Williams car, just gets the job done before he's even got to the Blanchimont corner. But what can we do? Into the bus stop chicane, going to the left, faking to the right, up the inside, into the bus stop chicane, under braking, locking up massively into that corner, holding the inside line into the second bar, but getting the job done. We also get DRS as well because we were behind Felipe Massa at that detection point. But he's going to have a little look around the outside in towards Le Source, side by side once again between myself and Felipe Massa. We get the job done on the run down in towards El Rus. He's going to have a great opportunity down the Kemmel Straight. We know how quick that Williams car is, so what can he do down there? But down in towards El Rus, through there nice and cleanly this time around. Here goes Felipe Massa looking in our rear view. Can Felipe Massa do anything? No, he's not quick enough. Felipe Massa is not quick enough this time around on the Kemmel Straight to do anything to go on an attack just yet, but making a mistake in towards the Coombs. That's going to allow Felipe Massa maybe to have a look down in towards Rivage. He's right to our tail, and here he goes on the right-hand side, up the right-hand side. We brake a little bit earlier, try to go for a switchback move, but unfortunately, our tyres are just too dead. We lose the back end on the curbing there through Rivage, and that allows Felipe Massa to get the job done here on that 21. And because we now have to fuel save, unfortunately, that is it. We can't battle. We can't battle for P4. Felipe Massa at this stage of the race was just too fast. The tyre choice was the wrong one to go for, and unfortunately, yeah, we lose out to Felipe Massa at the end. But P5 at the moment, if we can hold on to it, will be a fantastic result. As here we are on the final lap of the Belgian Grand Prix, on board with the leader that is Jenson Button. What a race he has had. It's been a quiet one, to be honest, but sometimes that is just what you need to get a race win. He's got the race strategy right, and here he goes in towards the bus stop chicane. Jenson Button, the McLaren driver, comes through the final corner to take the checkered flag and win the Belgian Grand Prix. What a result there for Jenson Button. He'll be very, very happy with that one. Another race win under his belt. Who's going to come out on top, though, between Sergio Perez and Valtteri Bottas? Sergio Perez just about holds on to P2 ahead of Valtteri Bottas there. So well done to both of those drivers. Unfortunately, Perez extends his lead in the championship, but through the final corner, Felipe Massa comes home in 4th place, and it is a fantastic 5th place for us. That is exactly what we need to get the team off our back. We are still under pressure, but it is a good step forward. A solid race today at the Belgian Grand Prix. Okay, we missed out on P4 at the end of it. A little bit disappointed by that. We made the wrong tyre choice, unfortunately. If only Jeff's call came a little bit sooner, we would have gone for the medium tyres. Or if I did a bit of practice, I would have known that the medium tyres would have lasted maybe the length that we needed them. But at the end of the day, P5 is still a decent result, and that's going to help us try and hold on to this Red Bull seat. We know that we are quick now. Just look at where we finished. P5, despite all the mistakes that we made in today's race. So it is still a really decent result. Jenson Button, though, is today's race winner. A great result there for the McLaren driver. Sergio Perez, the championship leader, finishing in 2nd. Valtteri Bottas finishes in 3rd, with Felipe Massa in 4th. So a great result today for both the Williams drivers, showing that maybe Williams are on the way back. Nico Rosberg finishes behind me in 6th, with Jolyon Palmer 7th. Then it's Fernando Alonso 8th, Kevin Magnussen 9th, and Carlos Sainz getting the final championship point here today. Kimi Räikkönen finishes in 11th, and Daniel Ricciardo also just misses out on the points here today. Looking further down the field, then Lewis Hamilton finishes in 13th, with Sebastian Vettel 14th. Then it's Danny Kvyat in 15th, Romain Grosjean 16th, Ria Haryanto in 17th, Esteban Gutierrez 18th, Marcus Ericsson 19th, and then we have the drivers who did not finish in today's race of Nico Hülkenberg, Felipe Nasr, and Pascal Wehrlein, all out of today's race. Drivers' standings then after 13 rounds of the championship. Sergio Perez once again extending his lead over myself. The gap is now 109 points, showing that maybe it's time to give up on this season. But this is my last season. I am not giving up. We still have a long way left to go we still have 6 or 7 races left to go in this season. 8 races, I think. Maybe even 8 races left to go in this season. So there's still a chance to try and get back Sergio Perez and maybe try and win the championship in our final season. Fingers crossed. Let's just see what happens. Unfortunately, Daniel Ricciardo has been overtaken by Jenson Button after that race win for the McLaren driver here today. So Daniel Ricciardo is going to have to try and come back. He needs some good race results because he needs to help me in the Constructors' Championship. And speaking of Constructors' Championship, we've also lost ground to McLaren Honda. They have now got a 6-point lead over us in the championship, I believe. No, 5-point lead over us in the championships. Force India, though, not extending their lead over McLaren, because McLaren got a decent result here today. So they sort of caught up to Force India a little bit. We're 102 points behind them. So maybe it's going to be a battle for second place in the Constructors, not quite a battle for first. But we'll just have to wait and see. Maybe we can make some developments on this car, and both me and Daniel Ricciardo can have some decent results in the future. But that is it for the Belgian Grand Prix. Don't forget to smash a like on the video if you have enjoyed today's episode. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so for daily Formula 1 content. And don't forget to share this video with your friends. And I'll see you next time at the Italian Grand Prix. But until then, it's goodbye from me.